Hey everybody, this is Rich Schnitzel with Bowtie Bots. Today we're going to go over how you create a quiz, customer onboarding, uh, satisfaction survey, anything where you have a set of routine questions and you want a way to ask a potential customer or an existing customer those questions, record the responses, and then pull that data and go do something with it. So we're going to be using an existing flow, which is a customer engagement quiz. This is a quiz that is live on the Bowtie Bots site if you want to go see the process for yourself and view the interaction. But today we're just going to go through how you set it up, how you think about using it, and a couple tweaks that allow you to take the responses of what people say within that quiz or whatever form it's taking, and then push it out to a CRM or an Excel page or something else so that you can then do your actions from it. And at the end of the day, the goal here is to reduce the amount of work that we need to do. We're not trying to create something that is just going to change the same amount of work that we're doing. We want to make this flow better and give you more time to focus on the things that are actually going to drive profitability and results in whatever you're looking for. So let's go into edit on this flow and take a look at what's going on. So at the beginning here, you see I have a split test going on for a couple different starting interactions. You do or do not have to do this. One thing to note importantly, Facebook has made a rule change that you'll notice I have A-B split action step starting over on the right. If you do start with this, you need to make sure that the person is already a complete subscriber. So in this instance, within the growth tool that I started people into, I have a button that confirms that they really do want to take the quiz and then pushes them to this next step. So they're already a confirmed subscriber of the bot. If this is in a growth tool, a simple fix, instead of having this A-B split test, you just put a simple message, hey, ready to take the quiz, take the survey, whatever it is, they click yes, and then you can go into A-B split testing and taking actions. You just need that very clear engagement from the very beginning to make sure that you are within Facebook's terms of service. Next step, ask your first question. Obviously, I'm doing this as a quick reply so that they disappear. Helps mitigate cheating on a quiz or people getting curious and trying to go back through a quiz and going, yeah, what happens if I click twice or four more? Their answers are there and they can't take them back. Very important if you want good accuracy. You can do an add button, which is persistent if the results aren't as important in terms of validity. If you just want to get a general yes or no, or you want them to be able to go back and change their answers. Maybe that's part of what's going on. Your choice, a couple different options there. The next piece is one of the big components that make this quiz really functionable and easy to scale and then pull data and do other things with it. And what I'm doing here is instead of just adding a tag that says what question they answered during the quiz, I'm creating custom fields for each question. And then when they click the corresponding button, I'm changing the value of that custom field to correspond with the result. So if they clicked once in this question, I'm setting list email frequency to a value of 1. If they click 4 or more, I'm list email frequency to 4. And then going on to the next one, you can see the same thing. Are you buying ads on Facebook or Instagram? Set custom field value, set Facebook marketing to yes. Or concurrently, if they click no, I set it to no. And you can see also as we're going along, keep in mind that your response may not be the same for all the different questions. So you can start branching out, branching in. At the beginning, try and keep it as small as possible. With questions as well, I try to keep my quizzes between 4 and 6 questions. Any more than that, and the flow starts to get a little bit too cumbersome for yourself and for the people going through the quiz. The intent of this is to get the biggest questions, the ones that are going to get you the most value out of knowing up front, get those done and through, and then end it. And then you can follow up with more detail afterwards. We don't want this to drag on and on. We don't want this to become this huge flow that has 50 different iterations and 4 or 5 different responses and multiple A/B split tests. You're not going to get value at that point. You're going to have so much data that you're not going to know what you're going to be able to do with it, and you're going to go backwards instead of forwards on that line of trying to reduce your workload. So keep that in mind. Keep it very simple. If you get to the end and you need more information, you can always go back and edit a few steps. It's not that difficult with the flow builder, the way it's set up. It's pretty easy to add another step in. Just keep that in mind. You can see we're going through down the flow, all the different questions. And then at the end, when they get to the quiz, I give them an option to share their email to get a personalized report. You can change that to whatever you want. Just an easy way to get email collection. And at this point, if you are going off into a CRM, this would be a great time to also add in a separate action item that notifies admins or triggers a zap. So if you have an Excel document that you want to record all your results for because it's a survey, if you have a CRM software that you then use to push to your salespeople and they follow up with somebody, this is how you would pull those responses and pull them into the CRM and then notify somebody else. So that's all secondary to that application. I mentioned that a big point of this was the custom fields, so I'll show you how to set those up and to get everything going. I like starting everything right from the custom fields tab. You can create them from within the flow as you're going, but to do a quiz or a survey correctly, you should probably know what your questions are and the responses that you're going to ask for are right from the very beginning. So you really don't want to be ad hocing that going through. So all you do is you come over, you create a new custom field, you name it whatever you want. You have a couple different options: true, false, number, text. This is how they're going to respond. So in the questions where I had a 1, 2, 4 more response, I have that set as a number. When I have a question that requires a yes, a no, any kind of word, that's a text. Also dates, true, false, all of that. The description is optional, but I do encourage you to try and come up with some sort of description. It shows up right here on the right, kind of helps you get a prompt of email. Okay, what email? Oh, I know that's a subscriber email. Gives you a little bit of context around what's going on. And the last thing I'll mention is that if you want a free form type of response, if you don't want this carbon copy style, you can come in here and you can add a user input. Within the free keyboard, you put in a user input and you can save their response to one of the custom fields. So you don't need to have it as rigid as mine is set up with a button click. I have it set up like that just as personal preference of what I'm trying to achieve. But at the very end, if you want, how you feel about the survey, or if you're sending something out and you want an honest response or an honest input, you do have the option of asking them to type in the keyboard their input and then saving it again to that custom field and exporting it all at the same time. And that is the basis of how this gets set up. This flow is at the bottom of the blog post, which I will link to at the end of this video. Go check it out. The quiz is also live if you want to go through the flow yourself. Again, pretty easy to set up. The combinations and the possibilities are very wide and varied. It's up to you to decide what goals you are, what are the big 4 to 6 questions that you want answered, that you want to take off your plate and record, and then implement in this fashion. Hope you guys enjoy this. Talk to you next time.